cities, and traditions in The Art of Japanese Life starts Monday at 9 as part of Japan Season on BBC 4.
This is BBC News at midday. I'm Jane Hill at Westminster, where pressure is mounting on the Prime Minister. The BBC understands that some Conservative MPs are demanding Theresa May sack her two chief advisers or face a leadership challenge. To shore up her government, Mrs May is expected to finalise her team of ministers today and is preparing to hold talks with the Democratic Unionist Party next week. The Scottish Conservative leader is one of several to express reservations about Theresa May doing a deal with the DUP. I'm not hearing that. Labour took the Conservative seat of Kensington in West London, the final constituency declaration after a third recount. We'll bring you all the very latest from here at Westminster, from Belfast and from Glasgow, as questions remain about how long Theresa May can stay Prime Minister.
I'm Shaun Ley with the other headlines this lunchtime. Police revealed the London Bridge terror attackers tried to hire a 7.5-ton lorry, but their credit cards were declined. Petrol bombs and blowtorches were found in the van they did use. Police also discovered the safe house where they prepared for the attack. Detectives want help in tracing 3 knives used by the attackers and pay tribute to members of the public who put up a fight.
People who came out armed with chairs, other items, were throwing bottles and anything they could get their hands on.
And Harry Kane will be the new England captain as they take on Scotland in the World Cup qualifier at Hampton Park.
Hello and good afternoon from Westminster. The BBC understands this afternoon that Conservative MPs are demanding that Theresa May sack her 2 chief advisers or face a leadership challenge. Senior Tories have demanded that the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Fiona Hill and Nick Timothy, are removed this weekend. Otherwise, they say they will seek to instigate a leadership contest. Let's find out the very latest from our assistant political editor, Norman Smith. 2 people that are very well known in Westminster circles. It's fair to say members of the general public might not know who they are, but explain their role and what is going on here.
Dark starts tomorrow at 9 on BBC One.
Hello, good afternoon. The BBC understands that Conservative MPs are warning Theresa May that unless she sacks her two key advisers, she will face a leadership challenge. Mrs May's Joint Chiefs of Staff, Fiona Hill and Nick Timothy, are being blamed for failures in the election campaign. It comes as the Prime Minister prepares for discussions with Northern Ireland's Democratic Unionist Party to provide the extra support the Conservatives need in the House of Commons to continue governing. Here's our political correspondent Eleanor Garnier, and her report contains flash photography.
For now, I'll hand you back to Sean.
Mike, thank you very much. And you can see more on all of today's stories on the BBC News channel. The next news on BBC One is at 5:05. Goodbye for now. Hello, you're watching BBC News with Shaun Ley here in the studio, and at Westminster is Jane Hill. Hello again, Jane.
Sean, thank you very much. Yes, good afternoon again from Westminster, and so much to talk about here still, all the aftermath of the general election result. And to bring you right up to date with everything we understand here at Westminster, of course, there is talk about Theresa May's leadership. In fact, events taking over even that sentence. I'm just hearing Nick Timothy has resigned. That is what we've just heard in the last few moments. Nick Timothy, one of two special advisors to Theresa May. What I was about to tell you was that we had heard our assistant political editor Norman Smith had that understanding in the last couple of hours that a lot of senior Conservatives were demanding that Theresa May sacked her two chief advisors. Nick Timothy is one, Fiona Hill is the other. They had said that she must get rid of them by the end of the weekend.
Good afternoon. Theresa May's two closest advisers, Nick Timothy and Fiona Hill, have resigned following the Conservative Party's failure to win a majority in Parliament in the general election. The BBC understands the Prime Minister had been warned she faced a leadership challenge if she didn't sack them. The government's chief whip, Gavin Williamson, is now in Belfast to hold talks with Northern Ireland's largest party, the DUP, to secure support for Mrs May's minority government. Here's our political correspondent, Alex Forsyth. And that's it. There's more throughout the evening on the BBC News channel, and I'll be back with the late news at 10. Now on BBC One, it's time for all the news where you are. Bye for now.
For the first time, the Science Museum is opening its doors so you can vote for Britain's greatest invention. Seven celebrities champion 7 inventions. You decide which one wins. Britain's greatest invention, Thursday the 15th of June on BBC Two.
I've got some big news.
Did you hear it?
What'd you just say, son?
What? What are you talking about?
What?
What?
Where'd you hear that?
Well, no one said a word to me.
Believe me! You're definitely sure? I swear!
Really?
I am being honest with you. Did I imagine it?
Hello, this is BBC News with me, Rita Chakrabarti. Let's get more now on the aftermath of the general election. As we've been hearing, the BBC's learnt that there's widespread discontent within the Conservative Party at Theresa May for the way that the election was called and the campaign was conducted. It's already led to the resignations of the Prime Minister's senior advisers, Nick Timothy and Fiona Hill. James Cleverly is one of the Conservative MPs who held his seat. He was speaking to my colleague Jane Hill and he gave his reaction to the resignations.
At 9 as part of Japan season on BBC 4.
Downing Street has secured in principle an agreement with the Democratic Unionist Party, giving the Conservatives a working majority in Parliament. The deal would be on a confidence and supply basis, allowing Theresa May to pass crucial votes when the Commons resits next week. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's two most senior advisers have resigned in the wake of the general election.
There were plenty of voices in the Conservative Party that reminded her that you can't run the government like you run the Home Office.
The London Bridge killers who used a van in their terror attack had wanted a 7.5-ton lorry instead. And Scotland push England all the way as they go on to draw their World Cup qualifier at Hampden Park. Good evening. Downing Street says it's secured the principles of an outline agreement with Northern Ireland's Democratic Unionist Party, giving the Conservatives a working majority at Westminster. The deal would be on a so-called confidence and supply basis, allowing Theresa May to pass crucial votes once the Commons resits next week. The Cabinet will discuss the agreement on Monday. Today, Theresa May's two closest advisers, Nick Timothy and Fiona Hill, resigned following the Conservatives' failure to win a parliamentary majority in the election. Here's our political correspondent, Alex Forsyth. And that's it from me and the rest of the team. Have a very good night.
When it came to my TV habits, I'd watch anything. But now, I can sign in online and get more of what I love. I'm kept up to date with the shows I love, and I get suggestions on subjects I like. Oh, I'll pause to watch this later. I can even discover music I didn't know I liked.
A new personalised BBC is on its way. To tailor the benefits to you, sign in and introduce yourself.
I've had enough spin.
I've had enough
fake news.
I've had enough alternative facts.
I want clarity.
I want a reality check.
BBC Reality Check, here to help you get the facts straight.
Search online for BBC Reality Check.
Hello, this is BBC News. I'm Martine Croxall. There's been a sharp rise in hate crimes reported in London since last Saturday's terrorist attack. 58 people have been arrested in the city over the past week. Cressida Dick, who heads the Metropolitan Police, has been speaking to Rick and Mithajia from the BBC's Asian network.